What could possibly be the four things that matter most in life? If you were to make a list, what would that list be? The four things that matter most. Well, I had a friend who was dying in the hospital this past week, and before I went to visit her, had in my mind and was reminded of these four things that matter most. And I wanted to give these to her as she processed and to give these to her family as well. They're good reminders for death, for life, and all the moments in between, and really can give us perspective. So are you curious? What are these four things that matter most? Well, in a book written by Ira Byock, he's a palliative care doctor, and he would work with those who were dying. And he wrote a whole book on these four statements. Here they are. The four things that matter most. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you, and I love you. That's it. And when it all boils down to, those are some of the most important things in life, aren't they? I think it all has to do with receiving and extending forgiveness and living in thankfulness and living in love. Receiving, extending forgiveness, thanking, living a life of thanking, living a life of loving. I read an article last night about Christians who are in the process of deconstructing their faith. It talks about we construct our faith with all those things we hold dear and the beliefs we hold dear, and then we deconstruct our faith. That's the process a lot of people are going through now, letting go of those things that aren't essential, perhaps, in our faith. And then we reconstruct our faith, holding on to what is essential and what is most important. Maybe these statements can help us to do that, for in these we see the life of faith as well. And don't we see Jesus living these out? Forgiving, thanking, and loving. His whole life was about forgiveness, extending it, wasn't it? Showing that God is a forgiving God. His whole life was about thanking also, wasn't it? I think so. In fact, the Last Supper is called the Eucharist, that Greek word for thanksgiving. Being called as Christians to live a life of thanksgiving, constantly, continually, and always. And then the way of the Master is the way of love. Love for God, love for others, even love for ourselves, should we dare say. So I wonder if these four things can help us in so many different ways. In our relationship with others, of course, who do we need to say today? Who do we need to say to this? Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you, and I love you. Who's living that we need to say that to? Who's dead that we need to say that to? And what if we said this to life and even our world right now? Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you, and I love you. What if we said this about life? Forgiving our lives. I forgive you. And to life, thank you. And I love you. And what if we even use these things to have conversation with God that contributed to our healing? God, please forgive me, of course, but I forgive you. Huh? And of course, thank you, and I love you. How could our lives change if we lived with constant, continual reminders of these four things and lived in the awareness of saying and living these four things? What if we stated the obvious over and over and over again to ourselves, to others, to God? Oh, I even forgot to say that. What if we said these four things to ourselves? Those parts of ourselves, you know what I mean? Please forgive me. And that part of ourselves we don't like so much. I forgive you, or the things we've done. And even saying to ourselves, thank you. And even saying to ourselves, I love you. So for God, for life, for others, for our past, for our present, for the world. Oh man, these four simple things can maybe help me to simplify it and remember to live in the spirit of it, huh? So as we state the obvious, I think that will lead to our emotional and spiritual well-being, It's worth a shot. It helped me this week, and it helped the friend that I love who passed away. So may these 4 things help us to even live all the days of our lives. Until next time, take care.